what do you think about, reflect a little bit on the moment, the time we have left, where we find ourselves today. Obviously, people's visions of equality have changed dramatically. Inclusivity has changed dramatically. It's not the same kind of crisis that we were living through in the 50s or the 80s or even the 90s. But what are your thoughts on so many of the political movements that we're seeing that seem to be trying to roll back, civil rights and the advancement for the LGBT community?
Well, I think that, the answer, is in some ways is self-evident. It's obvious, that, it's, I didn't plan it, but I'm actually very happy that we have a show about a demagogue, Joe McCarthy, who's, when we are seeing the rise of demagogues in our own country and in our allies, other Western democracies. And and what do demagogues do? They accumulate power by creating fear and division. And Joseph McCarthy was brilliant at that, actually. And Joseph McCarthy, I have to say, was in some ways smarter and more educated than the current crop of demagogues. But that doesn't make them less dangerous. Actually, their lack of education and intelligence in some ways makes them more dangerous than Joe McCarthy. Um, but so that those parallels are really there. And in terms of the LGBTQ community, I've just been doing this for a long time. I went to my first demonstration in 1977, and when I was there, and I was able to come out of the closet because I stood on the shoulders of the people who 10 years earlier had been at Stonewall and had taken, and they stood on the shoulders of the people in the 50s who reacted to the Lavender Scare, like Frank Kameny, and created the very, very first homosexual rights events. So I think it's important for us to remember that we have been in tough times before, that we have survived. We've not only survived, we've grown as human beings and we've grown as a community because of those tough times. And to find the joy in the struggle. When I was an activist in the 70s and the 80s, I wasn't an activist because I was trying to get people to love me. I don't really care. I actually don't care. I'm a real old-fashioned liberal. I'm a total First Amendment believer. If you don't believe in homosexuality, that's fine. If your religion tells you it's wrong, great. God bless you. Just don't interfere with my life. And I don't want to be liked, by people who don't like me. Who cares? I probably wouldn't like you either. Let's just live in peace. And the way we'll live in peace is that I have all my full civil rights, just as you do. So I think but artistically, I do think that identity has been at the core of my life and my work for my whole life. However, we are all human beings. And as we did on the show, let's not get trapped in our identity. Like, you can only understand me if you are the same group of letters after your name as mine. Are you an L? Are you a G? Are you a T? I don't believe that. We have common, universal human experiences, and we should celebrate our common humanity, while advocating for our rights.